Okay, hi everybody, and welcome to your screencast. We figured it'd be really important before you guys go through a whole playlist around the types of government to spend a few minutes thinking about what this whole thing about government is. So, what we've started with is just this very basic definition in answer to the question, what is government? Government refers to the governing body of a nation, state, or community by which the people in that body are governed. You might think of words like administration, reign, rule, ministry. All of those are associated with this idea of government. But a big question must be coming to your mind around, why do we have government in the first place? What's its purpose? We've heard all about different forms of government in the past, and we know that people have revolted against their government, loved their government, created new governments. There's all different reactions that people have to their government. We want to think about what underlies some of those ideas and actions in relation to the government. So, the government framework is all about thinking about how do we achieve justice. And there's a couple of ways that we can sort of figure out how justice plays into government. We might think about how just a government is according to power, accountability, or the rules of law. So these are three really important words that we want to be questioning as we go over the different types of government. Who has the power, the ability of rulers to get things done and keep order? Who has the accountability? Who's making sure that those leaders are getting things done like they're supposed to and in the most ethical way? And by rule of law, this third one, we're looking at what are the principles or guidelines that the rulers are using and people must follow in order to make the government work. So, when we're thinking about these three parts of government, these three big questions that we have to be asking, we want to know, how do power, accountability, and rule of law, these three terms that we just went over, interact to promote justice in a system of government? So, questions, some food for thought for you guys as you start going over the ideas of the different types of government. One thing I'd love you to take a minute to just jot down some answers to is this question of what happens if there's a lot of power but not a lot of accountability or rule of law. And if you need to, feel free to scroll back in this screencast to the slide that had those definitions on there. What would happen if there's a lot of power but not so much of that accountability and rule of law? Or another question for you, what happens if there's plenty of rule of law and accountability, but no one has power? That's another really challenging situation. But both of these situations are situations that we've seen throughout history and that exist in the different types of governments that we're going to be talking about. And finally, that last question to be keeping in the back of your mind is, how did these various elements develop over time? So governments did not just pop up one day. Governments are a product of a long system of change in a society, and we want to be thinking about what are the origins of different types of government, why did people want one type of government over another, and how did that power, accountability, and rule of law play into the type of government that was created. So go have fun exploring the rest of this playlist, and I hope you learn a lot about the different types of government along the way.